have more and more calls are starting to come in on it. So the analysts have been quite busy issuing loans and approving those loans. And we just finally received the cash as well from WD, from the Fed. So they're actually now receiving their funds. So that's been going really well for the analysts this past week and a half, I guess. And now the new CEBA program will be launching again tomorrow. So there's going to be some easements on the CEBA loan. So that will be another funding stream. If they were denied for the first round, the new CEBA loan might actually work for them.
Is now joining.
So yeah, so between the Triple RF and the CEBA funds, we should be able to assist those who have been underserviced to this point for loan assistance. So that's kind of what's happening there for funding supports. And then project-wise on the survey, we do have a regional economic development meeting over lunch tomorrow that we are organizing here from our office, and we will all be taking a look at the draft strategy that the EDOs have all reviewed, and we're going to kind of sharpen our pencils with that, look at some tactical items that we want to address regionally, most likely labor partnership initiatives and training. And so we're going to come together with some discussion on that, and hopefully we'll have some things to implement here in the next few weeks. And we're busy right now just touching base with the producers on open farm days to see if they're going to participate this August. So we're waiting for some news up on that. And yeah, same with the agritourism initiative. We should have more coming out with what's going to happen with that in follow-up from our open farm days follow-up. So that's what we have.
Great, Wendy. Are there any questions for Wendy? None. I think
Super.
we had a caller here. Is that Scott Klassen?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Scott. Welcome to the Infinite WC calls. This will be a short one today. Typically I think we just have 6 in the meeting right now. But as you've heard, we've had some high attendance, and we'll have some guest speakers and everything like that. So thanks for joining. Right now, we're just doing a really informal round table, just some updates. So Wendy just updated what's going on in her world. That you probably caught a bit of that. I'm going to go to Tammy. So Tammy, thanks for joining. And you're on mute.
I know, I unmuted myself.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say. I just wanted to check it out today because I haven't been too active on these calls, and I wanted to just jump on and see what's going on and how I can help out. That's all.
Awesome. Reeve Link, I'll move over to you.
Sorry, finding unmute. Not a ton to report on behalf of the county. I don't think we have a ton of businesses on today, but the thing that's probably most exciting for me is just recent direction from council to explore a broadband solution for Wheatland County. We'd been previously involved in a regional sort of potential partnership for bringing broadband to Southern Alberta. That wasn't working very efficiently. So yesterday, 2 days ago, council directed administration to explore a solution specific to Wheatland, as well to look for a project manager for that connectivity project. So that's exciting. And then in conjunction with that, council also recently has just been looking at kind of some servicing issues in our industrial areas, both in Goldfinch and in the WASP, the West Highway 1 corridor there. So I'm excited about those potential developments and how that might impact development and kind of investment attraction in Wheatland. So those are probably the top sort of industry or business related sort of directions that council has taken. Scott, feel free to add anything that you can think of.
No, you pretty much covered it. thankful.
Patrick, do you want to give an update on your end?
Sure. Yeah, things are continuing on with the website development for bringing in the CrowdRiff implementation. Wendy and myself have been working in Rosebud trying to create communication conduit through I guess a community ambassador who's interested in doing that. So that's great. We're also, like Wendy said, working on the survey, and survey 2 should be getting prepped in the next few weeks to be circulated again, so we can get an update on some data. And what else? Yeah, I'm ready to host a session with Business Retention and Expansion International, talking about communications with businesses using technology and how it is in the COVID environment and what we're up to and why we're doing it and how we're doing it. So that's pretty exciting. I'll be going around with the chamber tomorrow to some businesses and meeting also with the Reef to do video capture, to do a story for Wheatland, similar to the one in Strathmore. So that's going to be a little bit of a road tour tomorrow, and the EDO meeting with Community Futures as well to plan on what to do for strategies with the business survey results, etc.
I did receive a call from the Strathmore Times yesterday to do an interview on Monday for the paper. So I'll be talking a little bit about that as well for the survey.
Awesome. Thanks, Wendy. And just on my end as well, from administration, basically echoing Amber and Scott's comments, all of those projects that are ongoing keep our days quite busy. So we're just trying to get all of that sorted in terms of developing a survey, surveying basically the west side of the county, and really developing a project plan moving forward to get that rolling and working closely with council on those items. Another few items that were very exciting was recently at council. Feel free to look through the agenda package. Wendy and Tammy, we brought forward a community profile in draft form that we're very excited to kind of mull through. We received some excellent feedback from council, who will be providing us some specifics in terms of editing, adding, removing, tweaking the community profile, which is really the foundational piece of our economic development strategy and rolling that out. So very excited there. We also presented, Patrick did an excellent job running through the results of that survey. So Wendy, you may have heard, but we presented those results, specifically looking obviously at Wheatland County, which was exciting as well. But otherwise, we're moving forward, have a few items on the go, and that keeps us busy. So happy to answer any questions on behalf of the county. Wendy and Tammy, if you have any.
I was just curious. I didn't get to watch the council meeting when they were presented, but what were the key observations or directions or feedback that came from council out of that presentation?
With relation to the survey?
Yes, please.
I'll defer to Pat. Can you speak to that, Pat? Mute.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, the feedback that I had heard after the presentation was that that it was great that it was a made in the region survey, that we didn't like farm it out, and that the quality of the data was good, and yeah, so yeah, I think the feedback was very positive. Not the results, but the feedback on the survey. And what it was meant to do was positive.
Okay, good. Okay, excellent. Well, we look forward to discussing on the next survey how that's going to look at. Is there any direction or, maybe key areas that council or the county is looking at zoning in on for the next survey? Anything you're looking to find out? I'll take that as a no. If
Patrick,
there's
in terms of that next phase of rolling out the next round of surveys, are there any specific elements that we should focus on in terms of, in terms of feedback that we heard from council? It's basically what exactly Patrick just said, but if there are elements in your line of expertise that we should look at, we will definitely do that and take that into consideration. And I know, Patrick, you have ideas that are flowing. So if anything comes to mind that we should look at in terms of what data we should get, because ultimately this data is really good for elected officials to use to lobby if there are some gaps and everything like that. So that's where we're going with this too, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that really highlighted to me was the, you know, with Wheatland being primarily agricultural as a primary sector, it is also the least impacted out of all the sectors. But the one thing that highlights out of that is labor. And I think that's something that should have a pretty heavy focus on, just to ensure that that sector remains as strong as possible. Oil and gas, of course, but retail has definitely been impacted, and yeah, so it's kind of a little bit of everything. But because agriculture is the the primary sector, labor definitely was a highlight in that.
Right. Yeah, and that's not a surprise. We've known that ag labor has been an issue in the region for several years now. So this will be the kind of the catalyst to begin to address these issues. Okay, that's super.
Thanks,
Thank
Wendy. Any other questions? None. Comments from anybody? This is very Wheatland County heavy in terms of council and staff in here. So Wendy, do you have any? You have us all on the line.
Honestly, I don't know what else I really need to inquire on right now. I know probably as we move forward into this next phase, with this survey and labor market tactics, there will probably be more conversations coming out. So I think we'll probably just wait for those conversations until after our meeting tomorrow with the EDOs in the region.
Right on.
Yeah. Oh, I should just give one more update. So our succession planning initiative is delayed just a little bit again. The lead partner with our CF out of Highwood, which is Okotoks, is all the CFs are pretty busy with the RRF funding. So they're actually looking at now bringing in a dedicated project coordinator, so that frees up her time to just deal with the loans. So it's delayed just a little bit yet until they secure this project coordinator. So this project may not kick off now until the fall, which is honestly okay by me. I know I'd like to get this training out to them, but given that I think the majority of our market that would be engaged with this is going to be agriculture, I don't know how good the attendance would be for participation this summer. So honestly, I think it's a good thing that we're holding off just a little bit yet on the succession training and matching. So that's what's happening with that project as well. But otherwise, I don't think I have any other questions at this time. Does anybody have anything for us? Is there anything that you guys are seeing from the businesses out there that, they may still be struggling with that maybe we already don't know about, or any good news stories?
Amber, Scott, anything?
Just thinking if there's anything new I've heard that I haven't shared previously. Honestly, in the last week or two, I haven't heard anything really new.
Okay.
Yeah, council received the survey quite well, I thought. I agree with Patrick, like council really appreciated that we didn't have to hire a consultant to do it, and that And I think was really good knowing that we had Wheatland specific results, but also the context of like the regional results weren't presented, but just knowing that we also have that regional picture was really good. I don't know. I'm really encouraged with relaunch and that we're not seeing like a huge surge in cases. We're seeing like maybe a bit of an uptick, but certainly manageable within the healthcare system. And like the curve is certainly, from my perspective, staying well below where we need to keep it. And I think people are still being mindful and careful, but balancing that with also getting out there and supporting kind of our businesses and that type of thing. So I'm wondering if we want to look at spacing these calls out a little bit, maybe to every 2 weeks or once a month, just so that we maybe get better uptake. And just because like COVID's not moving as fast and that type of thing, there's maybe less sort of really urgent information to be disseminating, like around, supports businesses are looking for, PPE guidelines, liaising between the provincial and federal government. I know a lot of my calls now are either going to every 2 weeks or once a month, or sort of more on an as needed basis. I don't know what you've heard, Patrick, like from, I know you're in Matt through ECDEV. I haven't chatted with Donna, but just if there's been any feedback from sort of some of the businesses that usually join us.
I think that's actually a good idea, Amber. And we can do that. I think that is a good idea.
Kind of getting like zoomed out, right? Like, you know what I mean? People are just
Zoom fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there's more opportunities now to actually be meeting in person and getting, around our businesses and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, and the nice weather in summer is here, right? So I think people are taking that opportunity to escape for that little bit that they can. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, or really active. I know a few businesses I've talked to are really taking this opportunity to get elbow deep into renovating or improving things or whatever they can do while they're slower, or like vamping up their relaunch. So
Right.
Yeah. And just on that note,
I just love when we have more people on, but I think maybe if we space it out, we'll get better participation.
On that note, we'll definitely do that. I think that's a great idea, Amber. Just for Wendy's information, we did over the last week develop internally some kind of return to work guidelines administratively. So we are opening the office, however we cap it, and we do make appointments in terms of any development application meetings that are required, etc. So we're starting to phase that back in on July the 6th, which is exciting. We encourage staff who can still work remotely to work remotely. And my instinct and gut instinct says we will have many that will still be working remotely where they can. So we developed those, very exciting. They cover all the bases. And that's happening too at the county.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Good. So have you had, what's it been like for your staff all coming back? Is everybody, kind of normal, like kind of where it was before? Is there still quite a bit of fear amongst people? Like, how has it changed everybody in the workplace?
In terms of the actual guidelines and the restrictions that we've set in place, there are several. So again, I'll just kind of underscore everything with, we encourage staff to remain working remote when they can work remotely, and we've been able to deliver all the services exceptionally well, while everybody in the administrative building, the majority of them, while we have been remote. So we can still do that. We restrict convening in the lunchroom and all of that in order to maintain that social distancing as much as possible. The bulk of the administrative building, as you know, everyone is in their own offices with the exception of the bullpen area at the front. So in terms of sentiment and how people are feeling, that's hard to gauge. I know that many people will still be working remotely, will still kind of schedule to come in where they can come in if they have meetings or to sign documents and all of that. So I think it's going to be a really well-structured approach to phasing people back into the office. And our business continuity strategy that we implemented months ago now will allow for that flexibility for staff who can be flexible to both be in the office and work remotely, such as myself. Most of the administration can do that as well, and middle management. But we do have the ability to go back into remote working environments due to our business continuity strategy should we face a second wave of this. Or
Okay.
third wave and the like. The way we design these guidelines were to be legacy documents so that in 10 years down the road, should Wheatland County ever encounter this again, we'll have those ready to go. So
Super.
yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I think that's going to be one thing that we're going to address as we move into some tactical training is business continuity planning for these businesses.
Mhm.
Probably in the short term, should another wave come through.
Exactly.
I think a lot of them have just kind of, winged it, for lack of a better word. So I think that's going to be forefront on my mind for a training request that we work with these businesses to get a continuity plan in place sooner than later.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's great.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
No worries.
Well, I haven't anything else.
All right. I think we can adjourn if anyone has nothing else. I think we're good to go.
Super.
Hang on. Scott
Okay,
here.
thanks everybody.
Oh, hey Scott, did you have anything?
Hey. Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, you asked about successes. I was able to successfully start a business during this whole campaign of COVID.
Right on. There you go.
Existing business that changed names from partnership to sole proprietorship. Jumped through all the hoops from Alberta government to get my trucking safety fitness and all that stuff, even including the opening banks. And actually, it wasn't that much different. And in fact, the banks were probably easier to deal with because you had an appointment, you could come in. Honestly, I haven't missed a day of work throughout this whole thing, and my clientele is still there, and different protocols here and there, but it's not as bad as in some areas anyways.
That's excellent.
Yeah. So,
Good.
yeah, it's still able to be done. It's just, it's challenging, but it can happen.
Right.
Thanks.
And that's a trucking business, Scott?
Yeah, so my partner and I owned Keelings Transport in Strathmore for years. It's a over 40-year-old company. It wasn't COVID that took us out. It was more contract things with a major supplier. And then the COVID kind of just put a little icing on the top, but it gave me some advantages to change direction of it. So
excellent.
Yeah, so it's just, you have to adapt to the times and roll with it like any other business, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's time to pivot, right? Yeah.
I was dreading it during this. I was thinking this is probably the worst time, but actually it was not as bad as I thought it would be.
Oh, good to hear. So what are you hauling, or who are your biggest sectors that you're supporting then?
I do anything from water plant work to do some work for, we have reefer services for the various grocery stores in Strathmore, Chestermere, Langdon. Just small freight.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how big is your fleet? Oh, and liquor store work. Yeah, that was a busy time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, liquor stores are up 40% right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how many fleet do you have?
I just have two
The
single
two.
axle 5 tons right now. I used to have a highway truck, but we had to downsize. So
Okay.
and it's just me driving now. So that's
Yeah.
why I've had to kind of take a step back from some things and, work first and counsel later. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because quite a few of our loan clients that have been coming in have all been they've either had to add to their fleet, replace their fleet, or do repairs to their fleet.
Yeah.
So logistics is a big one.
The trucking industry, so this is going to have a ripple effect later on, because right now there is no licensing happening on any drivers. Anybody starting in, so it's kind of a double whammy. The licensing part of it's one thing, but the other thing is that the safety fitness. The challenges of getting a safety fitness now it's huge. You got to know what you're doing, which is good.
Yeah.
But for the average person that wants to go out and start their trucking company because they like to drive, they're not going to be able to do that anymore. It is very demanding, the safety standards that are set now, but I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Like I've done it for a long time, and I had to go to rate this new test, and it took me a couple times to pass it.
Wow.
So
Right.
so there's going to be some rollout and some damage after this, and that's your whole backbone of your supply chain.
Jane. Yeah.
Especially
Well,
in
it
rural
just-
areas. It's
Yeah,
small companies
exactly.
in rural areas. Yeah.
And even just, yeah, trying to find the labor in general, right? Like we had a few trucking companies call in and they were having a really difficult time trying to find labor. And then to be able to afford to put them through the training.
And actually, like any business right now, labor is your weakest link.
Yeah.
And for me to go sole proprietor right now actually is a blessing because I don't have to deal with that. I just do it myself.
Yeah.
Much easier. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I think that's all the more reason for us to start right away, starting looking at these labor market profiles and enter a partnership in with the government of Alberta on this one.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, there's tremendous labor gaps throughout the whole region. So yeah, this will be good.
And I'm hearing a lot of retail stores,
Mhm.
the bigger chains, because I delivered to some of them. They have a hard time getting labor now because they can stay at home and get their 2,000.
Yeah.
And they just don't need to go to work. So
Right.
there's no incentive. Yeah.
That's right.
So we
And
got
then
to roll away from that.
Sorry.
We got to roll away from that and get the incentive back to go to work.
That's right. Well, and did
If
you
there's-
see Kenny's announcement that he's looking at that the $15 per hour isn't going to stay there?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that just came out this morning. So I'll be interested to see what he's going to adjust on there. Like it sounds like a decrease, but yeah,
Mhm.
there's going to be changes, I think.
All right.
So
Well, I just wanted to share that. It's still possible. I know a lot of people are doom and gloom, but it's still pretty good. So,
well, congrats.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome, Scott.
All right.
All right. Good to go, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye.